This is a script from skitguys.com entitled The Last Days, The Garden of Gethsemane by Rebecca Wimmer. It was a still, cold night. Jesus led his disciples through the darkness up a narrow path on the Mount of Olives to a garden called Gethsemane. As they reached the spot, Jesus turned to them and said, "Sit here while I go over there and pray."
He asked Peter, James, and John to go just a little further with him. They could see a sort of sadness and trouble written in the furrowed brow of their rabbi. And then he turned to them and said, "My soul is overwhelmed with sorrow to the point of death. Stay here, keep watch with me."
They stayed where Jesus had asked them to stay. They watched him as he withdrew from them about a stone's throw away into the garden until he was just out of sight. How long would he be? Jesus often prayed alone and for a long time with his Father. So they sat down and rested from the walk, wearied by their own sorrow.
Jesus fell with his face to the ground. With his face to the ground, he prayed most earnestly, "My Father, if it is possible, may this cup be taken away from me." In anguish he prayed, and his sweat fell like drops of blood to the ground.
The cup was bitter. Jesus prayed for that dreadful cup to be taken away. He prayed that if it were possible, the lamb didn't have to be slain.
Rising, Jesus returned to where he had asked his disciples to remain vigilant with him, and he found them dead asleep.
"Could you keep watch with me for 1 hour?" he asked, then added again, "Watch, pray so that you will not fall into temptation. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak."
Again, after entreating them once more, he went back to pray, saying, "Abba, Father, if it is not possible for this cup to be taken away unless I drank it, may your will be done. Your will be done."
And coming to his feet again, he returned to his disciples. Would they be alert for him, praying for him, standing guard for him, their friend?
Sound asleep again, unable or unwilling to stay awake. Perhaps they don't understand what's at stake.
Jesus pleads with his friends again to keep watch with him to the end.
And once more he goes off to pray.
And once more down they lay.
But the time for keeping watch has come to an end, because in the distance a soft glow of light is approaching quickly. The still, silent garden now begins to rumble with the sound of a fast approaching angry mob.
The disciples are awake now, and in an instant they're staring back at what feels like a legion of armed men, waving swords and clubs in front of their hate-filled eyes.
Sent by the chief priests, the teachers of the law and the elders, the mob white-knuckle grip their weapons, ready themselves to pounce on the one they've come to arrest.
A lone man steps out from the mob and moves slowly and methodically toward the place where Jesus is now standing. The disciples don't make a move. Why would they? This man is no threat to them or their Lord. This man is one of their own, or so they thought.
The man steps in front of Jesus and leaning in close to him says,
"Rabbi!"
And kissing him on the cheek, he steps back, just catching for a moment the swelling sorrow written in the eyes of the one he just betrayed.
The mob erupts, lunging forward at this signal from Judas. They move to bind Jesus and start to drag him away.
But Peter, taking up a sword, swipes at one of the mob, threatening his rabbi, lopping off his ear.
"Put your sword back in its place," Jesus said to him. "Do you think I cannot call on my Father, and he will at once put at my disposal more than 12 legions of angels? But how then would the scriptures be fulfilled that say it must happen this way?"
And reaching out, Jesus touched the man's ear, and as quickly as he was wounded, he was healed.
They dragged Jesus away, bound and chained. The cup was poured and ready for the drinking.
And speaking to the crowd, and in evil unseen, Jesus said, "This is your hour when darkness reigns."
And with that, his disciples deserted him and ran away.